industry. Good day, I am Michelle Ang together with my co-researcher, Dr. Joy Rabo. We are both faculty member of De La Salle University, Manila, Philippines, and we are here to briefly discuss our study entitled An Industry Analysis of Stock Returns at the Philippine Stock Exchange during the COVID-19 Vaccine Rollout.
So COVID-19 became a global health burden that had infected millions of people that had contributed to severe impacts in the global economy, and several studies were able to note significant negative financial market reactions as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic declaration. The pandemic's impact highlighted the importance of an effective treatment for COVID-19. However, due to the absence of drugs approved for COVID-19 prevention and treatment, development and administration of COVID-19 vaccines received global attention as a potential solution to control the pandemic. In the Philippines, a mini-scale of the vaccination program began on March 1, 2021, wherein frontline health workers were the targeted recipients. And in a 2020 study by Kamba and Kamba, COVID-19 daily infection was identified as a contributor, though minor, to the Philippine Stock Exchange Index significant fluctuations. Dumlao Abadilla reported that the PSEI gained for the third straight session on March 25, 2021, due to a decline in new COVID-19 cases and investors' optimism on the vaccine rollout. The said report also stated that except for financial, all PSE sectors gained, with holding firm, mining and oil, and property sectors as top gainers.
These are some of the recent studies that focus the impact of COVID-19 on various industries. All these studies focus more on the impact of the pandemic or the lockdown on financial performance of various industries. As you may note, all these studies were conducted 2020 and 2021 during the height of the pandemic. To the best of our knowledge, no event had focused yet on the start of government-led vaccination rollout program in the Philippines. Thus, this study aims to determine whether COVID-19 vaccine rollout as an event had a significant impact on the stock returns of the various sectors of the Philippine Stock Exchange. This study applied the efficient market theory of FAMA, which states that an efficient market is where prices fully reflect all information and are therefore properly valued. Shown on the slide, you can see the estimation and event window that will be used in the study. This study would be using event study of vaccination rollout in the Philippines. The population for this study consists of 276 actively traded companies in PSE or Philippine Stock Exchange during the estimation and event window just discussed earlier. Sample size used in the study was reduced to 269, which covers the only 6 sectors out of the 8 sectors. These sectors are those that were classified as major sectors by the Philippine Stock Exchange. Namely, the following sectors were financial, mining and oil, holding firm sector, industrial sector, property sector, and services sector. The daily closing prices from PSE was obtained for us to be able to compute the cumulative average abnormal returns. And then a t-test was conducted to determine the statistical significance. The formula is shown on the slide here regarding the computation of the t-statistic that was used in the study. As shown in the table shows the daily cumulative average abnormal return of each sector during the event window at 99%, 95%, and 90% significance level. The t-test showed that there is a significant impact of the vaccine rollout days before, at, and days after on the abnormal returns across all sectors, and that the impact varies per industry. The findings suggest that the PSE has a semi-strong market efficiency as the stock prices fully and immediately reflect all public information. This can be interpreted as PSE stock prices being properly valued. This aids management of listed firms in determining investor confidence and appropriate management strategies to further improve their market condition.
In particular, all sectors showed a negative t-test statistic, and all but the property sector showed significant statistical difference in CAR 5 days after event date. This can be translated to investors dropping the confidence on the mini vaccination rollout declared by the Philippine government. Getz in 2020 identified the factors for a successful vaccination program, which included the implementation of equitable prioritization and distribution policies. The Philippines Department of Health and the National Task Force Against COVID-19, or NTF, did a press release and called on the public to strictly follow the government's prioritization guidelines regarding vaccination following reports of vaccination of non-health care workers. 2 to 5 days before the event date, industrial and mining and oil sectors both showed significant negative differences in stock returns. The negative results can be explained by the increasing focus of industrial sector on lowering costs and having sustainable production and environmentally friendly offerings, and the declining price of minerals in the mining and oil sector. Considered as two of the most severely affected sectors during the pandemic, the property and services sectors showed positive differences on stock returns 3 days before until 1 day after the event date, all results being statistically significant for the property sector. This can be partially explained by the increased focus on accelerating the digital transformation in the services sector and the increased demand for housing driven by work from home arrangements during the pandemic.
To conclude, we did an event study to analyze whether there was a significant difference in cumulative average of normal returns before and after the March 1 vaccination rollout in the Philippines by the government among different sectors. We found that the impact of the vaccine rollout on the market return varies per sector. Financial, holding firms, and services sectors showed negative reaction only on the fifth day after the vaccination rollout, whereas industrial and mining sectors were adversely affected by the vaccine rollout 2 to 5 days before the event and also on the fifth day after. Of all sectors, only property sector showed a positive reaction to the rollout 1 to 2 days before and on the rollout date itself. Thus, the results of our study can assist investors in implementing their investment diversification strategy by providing insights as to how each sectors react differently to COVID-19 related event.
So for our recommendation, in order to bring back the investors' confidence, the Philippine government, various sectors, and listed firms are recommended to determine perceptions and readiness of the public and key stakeholders in vaccines and on vaccines and to understand communities' concerns in terms of demand, acceptance, and willingness to follow government recommendations before launching its full-scale vaccination program sometime this year. In addition, due to uncertain impacts of the vaccination rollout, management of listed firms in various sectors are recommended to use the learnings from the pandemic to craft a more appropriate crisis management program in order to recover faster from any future adverse impact brought about by the pandemic. This can be done through an increased investment in technology and adoption of new technologies to accelerate digital transformation and improve innovation, while at the same time striking a balance with streamlining and recalibrating operations, improving productivity and cash flows, and controlling costs. For the different sectors, we recommend the following to improve their profitability and increase investors' confidence. One, for services sector, particularly the airline industry, to restructure, raise equity, and invest in new debt. Two, for financial sector, to offer new consumer lending opportunities. Three, for some services and industrial firms, such as those involved in transportation, fuel retail, and semiconductor manufacturing, to focus on electric vehicle product line and services, as well as artificial intelligence. And fourth, for each sector and firm to migrate to the cloud, although profitability may not be guaranteed for all. So all of our recommendations for the different sectors were taken from the McKinsey report.
For future researchers, we recommend to expand the event window to also include or to cover long-term impact of the vaccine rollout as an event or even to study other COVID-19 recent events. Determining variables that moderates the impact of event can also be considered in future studies. We also recommend a comparative study of on ASEAN countries' investors' reactions to the vaccine rollout as an event. This ends our presentation. Thank you for your time.